We're live from the First Star Logistics studio for a special edition of the Sit Down Malik Wright. Joining me here today is Cincinnati Bengals punter and do it all guy, I would say, DoorDash guy, Drue Chrisman. Drew, appreciate you joining me in studio, man. Appreciate you joining me here, man.
Thanks for having me, Malik. This is exciting. It's good to see it firsthand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before we jump into all this, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel as always, and make sure you guys give Drew a follow
Yeah.
on social media, man. All the initiatives that he is doing. So, Drew, you're doing some pretty awesome stuff right now around Cincinnati, around the community with DoorDash. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, trying to. It has transformed into something that I didn't even see, especially at this rate, what it's grown into.
Right.
Yeah, to kind of start from the beginning, it just so this time period,
Yeah.
between OTAs and training camp, you got about a month and a half off, and most guys go vacation somewhere or go work out in some camp or do, you can do a million different things. It's kind of your free time. And I was looking at ways to just kind of stay in shape during this time. I got a little one at home, so traveling's a little more difficult. So I wanted to, work out here. I still work out in the facility just about every morning.
Mhm.
But then just get a little extra cardio, a little extra leg work out throughout the day. And I really enjoyed cycling in college. There was a place close to our apartment that we stayed in, my wife and I. And so I wanted to get back into that. There's no studio in Lawrenceburg.
Right.
And so I would have to come to Cincinnati to go to a cycling class. And I also debated getting a Peloton. Didn't want to go that route. Those things are expensive. I'm sorry, Peloton. But I found a cheaper route and actually a way that can actually generate money at the same time. Wasn't necessarily the goal, just was going to work out. And that was DoorDash.
Awesome.
I came across a video on Instagram, saw a guy doing it in DC, looked at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's close enough to where you can do it on a bike.
Mhm.
And I have been getting a phenomenal workout and making some money along the way, which I have turned into a little bit of a charity adventure, which has been a lot of fun.
For sure. Now you talk about Lawrenceburg. Most people think Indiana is so far from Cincinnati. Well,
Yep.
you've let the people know it's not that far.
It's not that
right?
far. I'm not hopping on some private plane to come in every day. I've done this drive in college. High school. I went to LaSalle in Cincinnati,
Mhm.
and then now I'm coming to Cincinnati for work. So very familiar with this commute. My Prius has racked up a decent amount of miles from the mileage, but it's still going strong. And yeah, it's not a bad drive.
Right. So you talk about sort of how this turned into a charity for you. How did that come about, man? Like,
Right. Like I mentioned, it started off as a
yeah,
workout,
yeah,
but DoorDash it's a career.
yeah,
People do it. Most people do it in a car.
for
I
sure.
don't know if it's really feasible to do it on a bike for 30 years or however many people
Mhm.
do DoorDash for. Because it is pretty strenuous. I can only
Right.
really give it about 5 to 6 hours a day till a professional athlete has to be like, all right, I'm turning into the day. I need to
Right.
go home and rest.
Right.
But yeah, so I started seeing, kind of the bank account and the DoorDash app just kind of rack up.
Mhm.
It almost felt like a video game in a way. That's
Right.
something that kind of drew it to me. I'm a huge game. I played
Mhm.
games all growing up, and just like doing like a little delivery, and all of a sudden $6 like pops up, like it's got like a little ding to it and everything.
Mhm.
It was just real satisfying. But I noticed I had like something dollars in the account, and I'm like, it's not really necessarily why I started doing this.
Right.
And obviously my other career,
Right.
pays the bills just fine.
Right.
And so I was thinking, just while I was riding around, seeing the city from a ground level, literally going
Mhm.
through the back alley and all the ins and out ways I've never seen the city
Right.
before. I noticed there was a little bit of a need. Cincinnati's beautiful,
Yeah.
phenomenal people.
Yep.
But you can see the need on the street. There's someone need a helping hand throughout the
Yeah.
day just to make their life or just a week a little easier. And so I thought there'd be no better way to that money than to help someone in that similar situation. Really anybody
Right.
around Cincinnati that might just need, an extra meal or help
Right.
out, and you just never know what someone's going through.
100%.
And so yeah, I used that money to support businesses,
Mhm.
bought some food from them, and they just started handing out, put it on social media, and it's
Mhm.
just now people are reaching out to me to just give me
Nonstop.
food for free. Yeah,
Right.
it's a lot of fun. It's very busy at the
Mhm.
moment, but this is a very fun kind of busy.
Right, man. And I think that's awesome. Obviously, with the fact that you're using your platform to
Mhm.
obviously do that, because when you think of a football player, you're like, like, oh, well, they time in their hands, but the fact that you give back, right?
Right.
So I guess the next question is, what were some of the responses from local businesses, when they saw you, doing this?
Yeah, no, the response has been phenomenal.
Mhm.
Literally, so the first place I went to beforehand, what I was doing it for, so I
Right.
used the money. But ever since then, like I mentioned, they're just giving me the food for free. We talk on social media like, "Hey, I got like extra $100.
Right.
I've saved up here." They're like saying they're going to work out some kind of discount for me, like off
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And then I get there and there's like a truckload of food, and they bring it to my car, and then I'm about to hand them the money. And like, don't worry about it.
Wow.
Like this is, you can see just the love for the city that the local businesses, and I think just Cincinnati as a whole really has. And I felt that support. I
Right.
felt that love. I felt it really from day one, but especially me doing this little adventure. People really do care about the people,
Right.
where they come from, what situation they're in. I think people really want to help out in this city.
Absolutely, and I think that's super important too. And you did talk about, how you walk around Cincinnati, and
Hmm.
that is you do notice that problem a little bit. So, like, if we could shine a little bit more light on, like,
Right.
on that, I think that'll be huge. But I got to ask you, being a DoorDash delivery person, what would you say has been your most memorable delivery,
There's
if you
been
have one?
some fun ones. Certainly the one that's kind of blown a little bit on social media is the one that I messed up.
Mhm.
Kind of a low light. I don't know what it is about people just loving seeing people in misery a little bit
Yep.
nowadays. That's another thing I'm trying to bring as well, just a little bit of positivity on platforms. But I messed up a pizza order. I put some butter on a Papa John's pizza. Was not thinking.
Mm.
I tried holding the water case at first. That quickly ended when I hit a curb and the water went everywhere. Frantically trying to put all the water in the case, just trying to get out of. I was like right in front of where, so there's
Right.
like a herd of people that just saw me mess up. Wasn't thinking. Putting in Ohio State's education in a bad light. Put it on top of the pizza. Got to the delivery. Pizza was crushed.
Right.
I felt terrible, but luckily I work for an amazing company. They refunded the order, and I still got $3 that trip.
Right.
So
It
I
was
was
worth
like,
it.
it was. I guess it was worth it. Made a good video. People are poking fun at me a little bit. At the end of the day, it all worked out. So it was a lot
So,
of fun.
so you probably had your Peter Parker moment, right, from Spider-Man,
Yeah, in a
the
little bit of
pizzas.
ways,
Yeah,
right there.
right, 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 right. So I've got to ask you, man. You're involved with so much, right? You're a football player, you're a DoorDash guy, and you've really turned this into some charity work. Like, how far do you want to take this thing? You know what I mean? How big do you see this getting?
Right. That's a question I get asked a lot because, I've only really done it during this break that
Right.
we have here. All the time in the world to do whatever we want,
Mhm.
travel. You mentioned, it's our time to do what we want.
Yeah.
Obviously, in about 3 weeks now, our schedule gets a little more tighter,
Yes.
and focus has to shift more towards football
Yeah.
and the season and all that. But it's something I've had so much fun with lately, and like you mentioned, I'm able to use this platform. I don't want to stop doing that.
Right.
It's something I feel like I've missed the last couple of years. I did a
Mhm.
little bit of stuff in college, using the Ohio State platform and doing some charity work back then. That was kind of my thing. So I missed that a little bit. I hadn't done it the last couple of years. I've been so focused on, cracking the roster, playing for the town
Right.
team, and obviously it's been great. It's
Right.
worked out. Here
Right.
I am. But it still felt like something was missing. This was kind of the piece of the puzzle. I don't know what it's going to look like. Like I said, it's only been about 2 weeks since I've even started posting the
Mhm.
first video. It's already turned into Skyline and Gold Star
Yeah.
reaching out one to like 1,000 meals or something,
Wow.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so who knows what it's going to look like 3 weeks from now. If there's a way that, I can save less time on the bike and be able to just food or, anything really, especially like in the fall, I've had,
Mhm.
thanks people do great stuff around
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
like some co-lives and stuff like that. I think that would be, great.
For
And
sure.
yeah, we'll just see what it looks like 3 weeks from now, and just kind of adjust along the way.
I definitely think that you've unlocked something there for sure, and that's something that you talk about how something was missing. That's something that I think can go a it's for them, right? But I do got to ask you, right? Drue Chrisman, the football player, Drue Chrisman, the DoorDash delivery driver, wearing so many hats. When people freshman, what do you want them to say?
Uh, I think just, a humble guy that just likes to give back a little less growing up. I've never had to worry about, where my next meal has come from. certainly playing football, if anything, I've been overfed and overblessed.
Mhm.
And I've lived a life that, most people really haven't because of that route I've taken just
Right.
through college and now the professional football league. So I recognize that. I recognize that I've lived a very blessed life, and I just want to be able to take part of that and just give back, and help out anybody really along the way.
Man. So I'm gonna ask you some fun questions now,
All
right?
right, these have been
So,
fun too.
right. I guess you're obviously punter for the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to know, what was last season like for you? You know, you guys went to the championship. That had to be something, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I remember I traveled to see you guys to England, and what had to be probably the coldest game
by far.
by far ever. I'm probably never going back to that stadium, especially in the month of December. But what has this ride? What has this journey been like for you?
It's been Drew. Especially thinking back to my first year.
Mhm.
I was on and off the practice squad. I think I was cut, 5 times throughout the course of the year. So, a lot of things had to work out, some luck and just,
Mhm.
actually being able to crack the roster last year,
Right.
and then get signed a couple of weeks later. It was a roller coaster. I think just being in this league, what one year is going to look like from another.
Right.
And certainly last year was a good one.
Right.
That's one I'm going to look back on and always have fond memories. And we didn't quite get the job done, didn't achieve the actual goal. And I think we got the right pieces in the locker
Right.
room. And I think it's really up to us to see how far we. It's a very exciting time to be in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. From the outside looking in, right? Everyone, we say it feels different.
Hmm.
It feels different. I can only imagine what it is like for you being a player inside that locker room. What is it national media or even local media um, is seeing when it comes to, this roster that you guys have with the Bengals? What do you think is so special
I think
you guys have?
it's very college-esque in a
Mhm.
way. Obviously, the talent is, far past, college level, but just in terms of like the brotherhood and how much time guys spend together.
Mhm.
You've probably seen it on social media, got after in the locker room, just playing ping pong together or cornhole or basketball.
Mhm.
In too many NFL locker rooms, really, the Bengals have been the only one.
Right.
But talking to Clark and Kevin, who have seen that locker room for a decade plus, even them telling us like it's just a different feeling. Like
Right.
guys like hanging out together, and you can see that it performs on the field.
Right.
When someone makes a play, you can see the whole sideline light up.
Mhm.
It's not as much individualistic thinking, but more just as a whole.
Right.
And in a way, it like
Right.
from what I've heard, but I haven't seen too many locker rooms, and it's special when you walk in there. It's fun.
And I guess the final question I've got about that locker room is, what is Joe like, right? And you hear so many stories about how he's ultra competitive. He's this, he's that. From a guy that's on in the inside, what is he like as the quarterback of Cincinnati? Man? Because it seems like from the top down, from
Hmm.
Zach all the way down, everyone seems pretty much aligned. With the one mission that they have, which is
Right.
to bring a Super Bowl to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would say thing I tell people a lot is so I played with him in college.
Oh
He
yeah,
was at
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State. I got to sit and have meals with him and talk to him then. And I always tell people, like, it's still Joe. Still, even
Mhm.
after the success he had at LSU, and drafted first overall, immediate success he's
Right,
had in the NFL, he's still just a down to earth.
right,
I think as far as like for everyone in the locker room, even Zach, I think that's another thing. Like everyone's just so approachable. It's
right.
not like they have a big ego
Yes.
with the success they have. I think, that could be a part of just Cincinnati, just humble guys, and they embody that city very
Right.
well, and I think it's paying off.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that. So I moved from New Jersey to Cincinnati, and I said the people of Cincinnati are people that I resonate with. Hardworking people,
Yeah,
like very humble. Not nobody's really braggadocious. Really, it's where we just sort of put our heads down,
yeah,
and
some
I've
blue
sort of
collar workers. Yeah,
exactly. I put our heads down and work, and that's all I know. And this city has served here, my man, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I'm sure you're probably gonna be headed to your parents' fireworks store.
it is.
It is that time of the year, man. What would you say is your favorite time about this year? Right.
The 4th of July in
Yeah, the 4th
general?
of July, because I know your parents own the
July
fireworks store.
5th.
Yeah.
When it's over.
When it's over, right?
We talked a little off camera. I mean,
Mhm.
this is where my family does, 80% of probably
Mhm.
the revenue for the whole year.
Mhm.
So you just there's no freak power outage
Mhm.
or, good weather this time
Mhm.
of year. Luckily, we got some rain, so people aren't as hesitant to light off fireworks come the 4th. They're
Right.
gonna burn their whole house down or
Right.
something.
Right.
And yeah, you work really hard. I think my dad's 5 hours was like last week or something
Wow.
crazy. But then you can just kind of crash and
Mhm.
hibernate. We do Halloween as well, but really fireworks,
Mhm.
the big part of the whole season. So yeah, I'd say July 5th. You kind of look forward to that.
Mhm.
And I don't know if we're technically celebrated a 4th of July. I've seen enough fireworks in my life, but
Right. You're like, we're good.
yeah, I've seen enough, sold enough this year. Yeah, we'll wait till next year. But it is a lot of fun, and it has taught me a lot of things. Hard work
For
and
sure.
everything growing up. So I am very grateful for the
For
business.
sure. And if you don't mind, what is the name of the business? Because I want to shed some light on it. Maybe get you guys
Yeah.
some more business.
Party at Trav's in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. We're open 24/7 right now. I don't know if this is going to go out, but even after the 4th, if you still haven't had enough blowing stuff up, we're still open. You can get found. Doesn't matter if it's Halloween. We always got some stuff in stock. So come check us out.
My man, Drew, I appreciate this, my man. It was an
Yeah, of
absolute
course.
pleasure, brother. Absolutely, absolutely. Make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give Drew a follow on Twitter so you can keep up with all the work that he's doing, all the great work that he's doing around Cincinnati, man. Appreciate you, though.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.